Hi St. Mark's, welcome back to another installation of our reflections on the Good Book Club and on our reading of Romans. This week our readings are from Romans 3 and 4, where Paul is making the case for grace. Up until this point he has laid this foundation of how really screwed up all of humanity is, how messy and it all is, how many mistakes we've all made. And now he's turning to this idea that therefore we all should be interested in grace. And the thing that he's wrestling with is whether grace is a transaction or a freely given gift. So he says if grace is a transaction, then it's no more than like being a worker that's paid what you're due. And he disagrees that that's how grace works. I think he believes that God's grace is a freely given gift given to everyone across time and space before we do anything, which is pretty cool. He even says, Moses had this freely given gift of grace to him before he established the law. And so that was important for the church at the time that he was writing to in Rome. And it's also important to us in modern America because I don't know about you, but sometimes I default to this idea of transactional grace. If my life's going well, I think, I'm doing all the right things, so God loves me. And if it's going poorly, then I think maybe I've screwed up and God's punishing me. I think that's an easy thing to revert to. And so Paul is calling us all to remember that grace is just there all the time, that God loves us all the same, no matter what we're doing or how much we've screwed up. Now, what that grace means is that God is calling out of our hearts what Paul says is this hope beyond hope. God's giving us something that brings dead things to life, and that God is calling into existence things that don't exist within us. So that's a pretty exciting thing to think about. That's a gift that's being given to us all the time. Our stance then, I think, as Christians is to open up ourselves to receiving this grace and then see if our works after that can become a loving response. Again, not a transaction, but a gift out to the world for the grace that we've received. Now, this grace works stuff is tricky, and we would love for you to join us in the conversation on Sunday morning at 9:15 at St. Mark's in our parish hall. Hope to see you there. Thanks for joining us.